切り札オシリスの天空竜行くぜオシリスの攻撃サンダーホース
Playing anime fighting games like Naruto, Dragon Ball, and One Piece definitely sounds very common. But what happens if the characters from those games are in the same game? This is Jump Force, a crossover game from the weekly Shonen Jump manga magazine. So simply put, you can imagine characters like Naruto, Goku, Luffy, even Ichigo being in the same universe, and they fight each other. Well, that's the main concept of this one game. Jump Force itself is a game that was released in February 2019. This game was also a form of celebration for the 50th anniversary of the weekly Shonen Jump magazine at that time. But if we talk about this kind of concept, actually it has existed for a long time, even since the early 2000s, when back then there were games like Jump Superstars and Battle Stadium DON, which can also be said to have a similar or even the same concept. But in 2019, when Jump Force was about to be released, the hype was really huge because this game offered more characters, different graphics, and more epic and modern battles compared to previous crossover games. Of course, at that time, it could be said to be everyone's dream. When else could you see Naruto doing a Bijudama to Goku, or Goku throwing a Genki Dama to Naruto in a super grand and stunning battle? Even at that time, this game was being echoed as the biggest battle anime game ever. But unfortunately, after its release, what happened was quite the opposite. This game was instead considered a failed game by many people. All the promises made before turned out to be nothing but empty talk. Until finally, in 2022, this game shut down its server and was pulled from the market. But why could this happen? And why did a game that used to be super hyped instead become a game that seems like it never even existed? Let's discuss it deeper. If talking about story, this game actually isn't that complicated. The story is, there's a mysterious power that makes the anime world, aka the Shonen Jump world, and the real world crash into each other until they merge. Because of that, suddenly in the city of New York, Frieza appears and directly destroys the city. But luckily, heroes like Naruto, Goku, even Luffy also appear and directly gang up on Frieza. In the end, a battle happens, until it's revealed that behind all this chaos, there's an evil group called Venom that really plans to combine all worlds and create a new world. On the other side, the heroes who are involved finally form an alliance that's called Jump Force, with the main goal to stop Venom's evil plan and return the condition of the world. We ourselves will act as a representative from the real world who joins the Jump Force. Our character can be customized by ourselves. For the gameplay, you could say this game is like a combination between Dragon Ball Xenoverse series and Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. We will use a lobby system, a concept that's really similar to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. In this lobby, we can run the story, take missions, even customize character. And if the server was still active, this lobby becomes a gathering place for players. Sadly, now the server is already dead. About the battle gameplay itself, the concept is 3 versus 3. We can choose 3 characters that we can switch while fighting. The characters available here are not only from 3 anime, but also from many other anime, like Hunter x Hunter, My Hero Academia, Yu-Gi-Oh!, even JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What's unique, even though just started playing, all characters are already unlocked and can be used. Why do I say it's similar to Ultimate Ninja Storm? Because the battle style is considered almost the same. We fight in a circle-shaped arena that's not that wide. For the combat mechanic itself, this game can be said to be super simple. There's no complex combo, just spam square button to attack. Even to release a special move, there's already a skill palette. Even though simple, I admit that the battle of this game is quite cinematic, especially the move effects that are epic and accurate according to the anime. This game is full of explosions and cool effects that spoil the eyes. But if that's the case, why is this game considered a failure? After knowing the content of the game, maybe you'll ask, why is this game considered a failure? Even though in terms of concept, this game is really cool. Well, even though in this game there's Naruto, Luffy, and Goku, unfortunately, they can't change the fact that this is a bad game. You could say this game is just selling those names only. In other aspects, this game looks like a game that was made carelessly. The most fatal example is the story, which is generic and feels just ordinary. Even though the basic premise is cool, the execution is really bad. The plot feels repetitive. We're only told to save heroes who are controlled by Venom. Then the hero realizes and joins Jump Force. That's how it goes until the end. Worse, the dialogue between the characters is really flat, no expressions at all. Even though interaction between anime characters should be a cool moment, instead it just feels like action figures talking to each other. So even though the premise is good, there's no strong motivation to finish this game. What's funny, Bandai as the developer seems to know that the story won't be interesting. That's why from the start, all characters are already unlocked. This even strengthens the impression that they weren't serious in making the story. Second, the battle is really boring. Even though the visual effects are cool, because the gameplay is too simple, eventually it becomes monotonous. Since the basic is just button mashing, the fun quickly disappears. Even though this game has online battle features, unfortunately, because there's no gameplay depth, it ends up just being a speed battle. Third, problems with bugs and performance. Even though it's light, the PC port is bad. The most complained about is the 60 FPS bug, which makes the gameplay become slow motion. Many people have to lock it to 30 FPS, which of course isn't comfortable. With all that, it's reasonable if this game is considered just selling names. Some even call this game a dead game since the beginning. Unfortunately, even with many flaws, the developers seemed not to care. Instead of fixing it, they kept selling characters. From release until server shutdown, Jump Force added 14 DLC characters, and all of them are paid. This is considered as an act of excessive milking. Instead of making the game more exciting, this actually made players lazier to play. The number of active players dropped drastically, from thousands of players at the beginning to only dozens in 2022. A chain effect happened. DLC didn't sell, income dropped, and finally the game couldn't survive. Eventually, in August 2022, Jump Force officially shut down its server and was pulled from all existing game markets. A game that used to be touted as the best anime crossover game instead and became a short-lived game, and even has almost been forgotten until now. Well, that's the full discussion about Jump Force, a crazy crossover game that gathered all iconic characters from the world of Shonen Jump into one super epic battle arena. Even though the game has flaws here and there, still, the concept is insanely cool and becomes one of the best fan services for anime lovers.